Hello, everyone. Now that alright, so now that 2021, the year of last year, is done and over with, um, a much better year of film rather than 2020, which I only saw like a small handful of films from that year. So with this year, that last year now and done, I can successfully rank around what are for me my favorite films of last year, and thankfully I have a good plethora of them here for you today. And unfortunately, on my video, I realized that I can only upload videos here up to about 15 minutes. Now you think there'd be plenty of time, but I want to get a little bit more to the detail for things. So this video here will be my honorable mentions and my 10 through 6. My next video will be my top 5. So yeah, let's just jump right in here and now. My first honorable mention is Nobody. The producers of the John Wick movies basically made a blue-collar equivalency of the John Wick movies, essentially, and you cast in about someone of Bob Odenkirk's stature and age, and you very much get a uniquer, a little bit more of a Clint Eastwood performance out of him, and you get a surprisingly fun and fresh action movie. And yes, it has some inspirations from it, but it still works, in my view. My second honorable mention is Raya the Last Dragon. One of the most standout animated, one of the best standout animated films of last year. I really like its inner philosophies and the beautiful animation and the sense of tone and everything to it. It had a good enough balance between the silly Disney comedy and everything, and balancing out everything that came to be within it, establishing everything within it. Essentially, Raya the Last Dragon is what I wanted out of Shang-Chi. Free Guy. One of the most surprising films of last year from Ryan Reynolds. I really dug the hell out of this movie. I thought it was quite fun. It was, for me, Free Guy is one of the most surprising films of last year. Godzilla vs. Kong. I really thought Godzilla vs. Kong is one of the most silly, rambunctious, and absurdly fun movies of last year that I truly just had an absolute ball with. And for me, as a big kaiju fan, overall, I think it just works beautifully. And yeah, that's basically all my mentions. Let's jump right into my top 10 favorite movies of last year. On my 10 through 6. Number 10. Tribute for the well-dressed man of what we know was the greatest legacy of all. My number 10 for me is going to be No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond is both touching, wrong, as well as jam-packed with great acting scenes. And though the villain may not entirely work for the movie, his grand essence of the plan and everything is more of what the villain wants to do. And when you speak about the villain's plan and goals and everything that kind of outshines the villain itself, in my view, it can be forgiven. Yes, you get something like talented as Rami Malek in that role, but even though he doesn't deliver, I do think his plans and everything else works enough to where you can see what he's wanting to do. But overall, No Time to Die is an incredibly fun, beautifully tributed, and one of the, if not the best final outings for an actor in a James Bond film. No Time to Die, for me, just peaks in on my number 10. It's a lovely final tribute letter towards a great finale film for James Bond. Number 9, Batman, The Long Halloween. Whew, finally got this adaptation well, and it was totally worth it. I thought Batman, The Long Halloween 1 and 2, because they're sold separately as movies, so I totally think they should be intertwined into one big film, just like The Dark Knight Returns, DC animated film. And I do truly believe that Batman The Long Halloween felt like it was a very smart, simple telling that knew its strongest attributes was in the storytelling and approach to the thing, to its source material, being a little bit more honest and tributing, instead of relying on much more of a uniquer animation that sometimes we get. And while it does not feel as uniquer as the DC anime films as they had before, its strong sense of animation and focus to the storytelling and all its characters within it, not to give too much away because I thought this movie was very sharp. It felt like an HD remake of a Batman the Animated Series episode made with today's type of animation and quality, and with not to mention top cast voicing in this movie, like Jensen Ackles, I thought was terrific as Batman. I thought Troy Baker is always great as a Joker. he never disappoints, and the rest of the cast is just as strong with a very distinctive animation frontal to its approach, giving the film plenty of momentum and mystery and intriguement that give it a very tense and no room for error type of story. Not to mention, I love the interactions with Catwoman. Overall, Batman The Long Halloween is undeniably the best DC animated film this year, which we got a good handful of. So yeah, number 8, A Quiet Place Part 2. This is a sequel of the year in which I thought really outdid its first, which I truly believe it outdid its first film. It has a greater intriguement of the story. I thought it challenged the characters a lot more interestingly. I thought John Krasinski's directing was a little bit more focused and put a lot more fear and indictment on the ideas of what the characters are doing. Essentially, it knew to push them into very uncomfortable realms, especially both the daughter and the son of Emily Blunt's character, and how they interact with Cillian Murphy's character and everything. I thought it worked very interestingly. I thought the score was very well done. I thought the essence of sound within these two films was really well emphasized. I thought, really, it left it up. It's, of course, the second one of the series, but it's, of course, leaving itself open for more of these movies, but it still felt satisfying. It still felt like within the chapter statement within these characters' lives and within this world, it felt like it was showing an important middle chapter while still leaving it open-ended and while still leaving it deliberately there for another movie, while still feeling narratively satisfying overall for it. And I thought A Quiet Place 2, in my opinion, was a great sequel to an already great horror movie in the first place from 2018, I believe. And this is a film that was pushed till this year, and I gotta say, the wait was truly worth it in my opinion. And yeah, overall, I really dug the heck out of this movie. Number 7. I bet a lot of you forgot this one even came out. West Side Story. I thought West Side Story was one of those adaptations that Spielberg was going to take on, and everyone was just kind of going, "Oh, why? Why the hell are you going to do this? Why do a remake of a already great iconic musical from the '60s?" And what Spielberg adds differently from comparing the trashing of the original 1960 classic to this one is a sense of scope, its characters, and the essence of faith, and what their purpose is, and why they wanted to have why these rivalries between the Jets and the Sharks really mattered. And I thought the majority of the performances were really solid. It really put the heartfelt intriguement, very much like a lot with Spielberg's storytelling. It's not a lot of the heartbeat within it. It's based around the younger characters finding their place and everything, how they come to be within the story arcs. And I thought West Side Story had a great essence of heart, of love and respect and admiration for the original, while still making its own essence of making it feel like it's its own little film, trying to make it its own unique self with paying much as respect to the original itself as well. And to me, it really felt like it was a loving tribute that Spielberg had for the original, while still making it his own unique film. And West Side Story is one of those sneaker films of the year. It's one of those films that you're just like, oh yeah, you heard about that happening. And once it came out, it didn't make it as much as it did. It didn't get as much acclaim as it did. It just came out, and the majority of people didn't even see it. And that's sad. It really is a terrific film. Its scope, its score, its performances, its musical notes, all those musicalizing moments within it feel beautiful, large, and grand, and he also felt character-wise important and beautiful at the same time. So, simply, to sum it up overall, West Side Story is a terrific adaptation of a already terrific musical in the first place, and I think it holds damn near a candle to the original classic. Now, number 6, and my last one for the video, is Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. This is one of those films that the more I think about, the more it gets better. The sense of horror, the intriguement of the horror mystery approach, and Edgar Wright's more weirder, more dynamic editing as we've seen before is a little bit more pulled back to give this loving tribute of the 60s bygone era of its swagger and style and everything, but also painting the really interesting parts of it, showing the untrustworthy underbelly of the era and how you see it from this girl's perspective. I forgot who the main character, but Anna Taylor-Joy plays her 60s counterpart, and especially bunching off actors like Matt Smith, and this movie really made it feel so intriguing. And it's one of those films that it's one of those films that it is undeniably a horror thriller movie, but like Silence of the Lambs, it knows how to toe the line between both. Granted, I do think this is more of a bit of a thriller, but its overall sense of violence and fear that it puts in you really is understandable from a character and a narrative standpoint. And Last Night in Soho, I thought was very rich with both aesthetic visualization to make it feel like a piece of art, but it didn't feel too pretentious for its own sake. It helped complement the bygone era within its tone and its fear and its swagger and everything. It felt like, as it would be, you remember it for its design and everything, but you forget what's underneath. And the writing and the performances were really, really excellent. And the romance worked. I thought that was a really great part of the movie. And, yeah. I have a spot in my glasses and it's bugging the hell out of me. But regardless, I thought Last Night in Soho was truly one of those... for me at least, it's the best horror movie of the year. And yeah, I really do hope you enjoyed my video, everyone. Stick around for part 2. Till then, my top 5 will come up very soon. Till then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you till then.